Go! Wednesday edition of the show. All across America on SportsMap Radio. All over the world on the SportsMap Radio app. Busy program ahead tonight for the next 3 hours, as it always is. Flanked by producer-engineer Charles Carter, who is working master control in Houston. My one night with him this week. I feel like, you know, the kid who gets passed around to different parents all the time. Oh, this week you're with dad. This week you're with mom. Then you're with grandma. And then, you know, Auntie Joan's going to watch you. It's great. It's great. Just get passed around. I'm only in 3 days. I'm only Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. And then I will be off next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So for those who are keeping score at home, you got me yesterday, today, tomorrow. Off on Friday as I'll be getting ready to travel east to Connecticut and New York City. And then I am off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week while I'm in Connecticut. So off for a couple of days. Hey, Charles, did you see the video feed? Got to go see the video feed. See if you notice something different. It's very, very cool. You got to check it out. And that, because I want to get your reaction to the newest addition to our set here for the video feed of the show. So go and check that. Well, I got them all cut, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I got them all cut. You said, did I get a haircut? I said, I got them all cut. I got them all cut. Yeah. Little dad humor right there. You see anything different in the background, though? It has the ability to do like all. If you guys don't watch the video feed of the show, tonight is the one night I'm going to encourage you. Go on Twitter at the back page. If your choice is Twitch, Jason Page 77 is my name there. Or on YouTube, just search for the Cash In with Jason Page. Same on Facebook. We're on Facebook Live. We're on 4 different platforms. If there was ever a night to check out the video feed, tonight is the night. Because we added a new, very cool toy to our set. And it's something I have literally been waiting about a year to get. And I was waiting until we had a show. Then I wanted to wait until we had a set. And I bought it last week. It arrived today. It is this cool company. And by the way, I'm not getting one for free, so I'm not promoting this company because I got one for free. I paid full price for mine. It's called a Tidbit, Tidbyt, Tidbyt. You can check them out online, tidbit.com. I bought one of these boxes they have, and it basically has a zillion different apps for it that you could use on your phone to display different things in like 8-bit, you know, like all pixelated basically is what it is. So tonight I chose to use Pac-Man for at least this segment, but I'm going to probably be changing it up throughout the show. It's very cool. It's something I was very excited to get. I'm a techie geek. And I loved the ability to be able to like display different things in the background throughout the course of the show. And this will allow us to do that. So I'm very excited to introduce Tidbit as a part of the show now. Very cool. You like that, Charles? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Pac-Man. Not even close. Yeah, I want to get. I actually want to get a Pac-Man tattoo right here on my wrist. I want to get one near like my watch line on my wrist, with the 4 ghosts chasing Pac-Man. That's the tattoo I want to get. I have 0 tattoos. I've always wanted to. That's the only tattoo I want to get on my wrist, and it's to signify the never-ending grind that is life. Because Pac-Man has no ending. The game goes forever. It just goes in a loop forever. And yes, there's no ending. Nope, there's no ending to Pac-Man. Goes forever. It's one of those games that, just goes forever. And so to me, it's life. Life is Pac-Man. You're just constantly chasing it. You're just constantly going after it. And so I want to get that on my wrist. That's my big wish, is I want to get one of those on my wrist. I've been waiting for a while now. I think I'm close to pulling the trigger on it. We're gonna get the Pac-Man tattoo on the wrist. Oh, hell yeah, color. Are you kidding? What am I, in Vietnam? Jesus. I got some guy with like an ink gun tattooing me in the middle of jail or something? No. Oh no, I'm going to get the real thing with color and everything. So it's a done deal. It is not a done deal in Boston tonight. How about those Miami Heat making life difficult on the Boston Celtics? Now, I'd like to say that I'm able to watch the game tonight, but for some reason, my YouTube TV not being all that friendly. So I've got the game on, but I don't really know what's going on because it just stops and starts intermittently. Miami, last check I knew, led Boston 81-80, but it's been a spinning circle on my screen now for the last 30 seconds. So there could have been all sorts of action during that time. Oddly enough, my MLB.TV feed working just fine. Got the Yankees and Blue Jays on. Extra innings, 10th inning. No score. No score. Yankees and Blue Jays tonight. And they're in the top of the 10th inning. You don't get those games very often. Neither team able to break through. Garrett Cole, shutout baseball for the Yankees. Chris Bassett threw well for the Blue Jays. Got Sal Romano, the closer for the Blue Jays, on in his second inning of work with the Yankees having a runner on third and one out. We'll keep you posted on what's going on there. And I look up at my TV, and it's still a spinning wheel. It's still 81. It's been 81-80 with 5:14 left in the third quarter for a while now. Charles, what's going on in that game? I'm sure you have it on. Well, I don't need your I don't need your I love you, but I don't need your analysis. I just want the score. Jesus. No, just give me the score because I can't watch. It's 90-84 with how much time left? Oh my God, I'm so far behind. My feed is so screwed up. We got to fix this. We got to get tech support in here. I've got 86-81 with 4:08 left in a spinning wheel. It's just a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. Anyway, one of us will keep tabs on it. Maybe I'll be able to get the television fixed during the break. Studio J is not operating on all cylinders tonight, but we do have a nice little new feature to the set. I don't know if people could see it, but we do have a nice little feature added to the set. So that's what we got going on tonight. Go check it out. If you don't watch the show typically, tonight's a cool night to go and see the show. Plus, I look kind of dashing today, I have to say, even with my new haircut. So it's 90-84 Miami with 2:46 to go in the third quarter. Thank you, Thank you, FanDuel Sportsbook, for giving me an update on the game. Lakers and Nuggets game 2 will be tomorrow. And the more I thought about it, the more I still feel like even in a loss last night, the Lakers had to feel good about the way they came out of that game. They could have easily gotten destroyed, and that been a 20-point blowout in game 1, setting the tone for an ugly series. And the fact that they came back as strong as they did, had 2 possessions to tie the game late in the fourth quarter, and came up a little short. If you're the Lakers, I think Rui Hachimura has got to be a starter in game 2. If he's not, then I'd be thoroughly surprised. Not to say that over the course of an extended period of minutes, he's going to do better against Anthony Davis, but he can't do worse, or against Nikola Jokic, but he can't do worse because Jokic did anything he basically wanted through 3 quarters last night. And Hachimura was a difference maker against him on the defensive end. So if you're the Lakers, you try it. If it doesn't go well, it just means a repeat performance of what he did in game 1. But it can't get worse for them. So they have to go to try something else. And in this case, it has to be Hachimura. Has to be. Still no score in that Yankees-Blue Jays game in the top of the 10th. Yankees, by the way, looking for their 3rd win in a row in Toronto against those Blue Jays. You know, it amazes me, and I'm going to get to this later in the show. We're up against it here at the 10 minutes past the hour mark, so I'm not going to get into anything else here. But It blows my mind to watch people hyperventilating over Aaron Judge looking towards the Yankee dugout a couple of days ago and then hitting a home run. They were cheating. They were doing something untoward. And then today, the pitcher that threw him the second home run ball that he hit in that game against the Blue Jays said, no, I was tipping my pitches. So all these people that wanted to say the Yankees were cheating, the Yankees were doing something nefarious, something untoward was going on. Now what do you say? Nothing. You go back into your parents' basement and hide behind a keyboard because you look like a bunch of idiots. Yeah, because Aaron Judge hit 62 home runs by stealing signs last year, you morons. It's just so idiotic. Yeah, Aaron Judge needs help from the dugout to hit a home run off some reliever in Toronto. I mean, come on. Give me a freaking break. It's idiotic. And this is the society and the world we live in today in the media in all regards. Snap judgment, quick reaction, hot reactor. Oh, they had to be cheating. He couldn't have just been looking at the dugout because they were screaming at the umpire or screaming at the other team. No, it had to be cheating. That's the only explanation. We're back with more of the Cash In at SportsMap Radio. Chug, you help me with this. Wake up, call. Oh, this game's over. First and third, nobody out. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Anthony Volpe made an error. Nice. Fuck.
Let's big props to Sonny because he is the best of New York City cab drivers. So many are great like him. He's unflappable. Everyone else is freaking out in the cab. He's like, whatever, it's just another fare. So God bless. Oh, he's still there. God bless you, Sonny.
Good to have you with us tonight. I'm having no luck tonight with my YouTube TV. So we fixed the issue of it being laggy and jumpy and all that. And now the basketball game is like disappeared off my menu. Like, what is going on tonight? Somebody does not want me to watch this game tonight. And the Heat are up 102-91, and they were like 8-point underdogs tonight, or 7-point underdogs. I said last night, if I thought there was a team that could steal game one, it was Miami, or at the very least cover. Now you got Miami minus 5.5 on the live betting line for those of you that are keeping tabs on those sorts of things. We sure are. Miami 102, Boston 91. So the issue must be a YouTube issue because I finally got the game on and it said, we're working on it and we'll be back soon. Well, boy, ain't that great. Thanks, YouTube TV. I can't watch the game. This is unbelievable. What is happening tonight? By the way, Lakers are 5.5-point underdogs for game 2. That's exactly what they were when we went off the air last night. So that line has not moved. Lakers plus 188. 226.5 is the betting total in that game. Coming up in 15 minutes, I'll be joined by my friend Cam Rogers. He is terrific on golf, and particularly golf betting. He will join us tonight on the show. We'll get some thoughts with him on the PGA Championship. It gets started on Thursday. Cam Rogers hosts the Lock It In podcast. You could also catch him on Friday nights on Stadium. He does a show for them, so make sure to check that out. I don't know what they're doing with the Yankees-Blue Jays game, but nobody out first and third in the bottom of the 10th inning. Yankees about to lose. They had second and third and one out, and they didn't get a run in. So the Yankees have put 5 infielders down to try and prevent the run from coming in. Oh, and they just got easy out at first. There you go. So be second and third, one out. Yankees might still have a shot to get out of this thing. So anyway, we'll talk with Cam Rogers coming up about 13 minutes from now on the show. Get his thoughts on the PGA Championship. Looking forward to that conversation. Got to talk to him just before we came on the air tonight. I want to get into, I said there were 2 things I was very interested to see when the season ended. One, what was said in Golden State once the season was done regarding the future of that team, regarding Draymond Green. By the way, 3-run home run. Danny Jansen walks it off for the Blue Jays. They beat the Yankees 3-0. So game over. Toronto wins. They get the 3rd game of the series after dropping the first 2 games of the series. So Toronto is a winner. So there were 2 things I was curious to hear about. What people really thought about Dylan Brooks, the Ja Morant stuff, which you're starting to hear things about now. And the other was what really went on in Golden State this year. What really went on with the Warriors? Because throughout the entire season, it was kumbaya. Hey, blocking out all the noise. The Draymond Green punch at the beginning of the season. We've moved on. Now, as soon as the season ends, you start to get the real story. As soon as the team is eliminated from the postseason, you start to get the true story. It's why you just cannot buy into or put any stock in anything you hear from teams during the season while these things are going on. Because smart teams anyway, are not going to inflame tensions. They're not going to add to the problem. But as soon as the season ends, you could be damn sure you're going to start to get some truth about what transpired over the course of 82 games this year. And there was clearly a lack of trust, as you've started to hear the Warriors talk about. There was clearly a lack of trust within that Warriors locker room after the team basically said, Draymond, slap on the wrist, miss a game in preseason, but we're going to have you back ready to go opening night, and boom, here we go. That's essentially what took place. And now you're starting to find out that played a factor. It played a role in what went on with the Warriors this season. Now, there's more to it than that. Anybody who simply thinks that this team couldn't advance beyond the second round and lost to the Lakers as a result of Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole before the season started in what was supposed to be a closed practice. If anybody thinks that's the only reason this team didn't make the playoffs, then you're completely being fooled. I mean, this team had an on-off switch that they flipped throughout the entire season. You cannot tell me the reason this team was 9-30 on the road through their first 39 games was because of Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole. But now, as the season ends and things start to matriculate a little bit, you start to get some of the story as to what was really going on. And you heard it right from Draymond Green himself. And for all the things I think about Draymond Green, not many of them positive, the fact that he came right out and said, quote, none of those things happen if that didn't, referring to the Jordan Poole punch ending the Warriors' title hopes. None of those things happen if that didn't happen. But all that does for me, all that reinforces is what I said at the moment that it happened. That you cannot keep that kind of guy on your team. You've already given a contract extension to Jordan Poole, and you hear the Warriors trying to say the right things by Draymond Green. Oh, we hope he's back with us next year. But if that's the reason, there's just some things you cannot move past. One of your young stars getting cold-cocked by one of the veterans who's basically on his way out the door, there's some things you just cannot move past. And if the Warriors think that, well, time's going to heal all wounds, it didn't heal it for 82 games this year, then they're fooling themselves. This was Draymond Green on the punch. Quote, we're not playing right now because when you speak about the foul and all the slippage we had as a team on the road as not being able to come together, none of those things happen if that punching Poole doesn't happen because of the voice and departments I lead this team in. There was a ton of slippage due to me sitting back, not saying anything, me trying to allow that situation to play itself out, and giving it time to heal, Green said in an interview with Stephen A. Smith. By February, if the slippage has been going on for that long, Green said, you are who you are. You built those habits, so try to correct them then. You may get a little better. We ended up in the second round of the playoffs, but not at a championship level, Green said. And now you start to look ahead. Does Bob Myers stay with the team? Does he walk away? Does Klay Thompson decide to rework his deal? Is he willing to take a pay cut in order to stay? I mean, look, they could trade Jordan Poole, despite the fact that they just signed him to a deal. They could trade him. That's obviously a possibility as well. I mean, they got Curry and they got Wiggins, and those guys are, still have some tread on the tires. Kuminga wasn't happy with his role last season. And yet I hear people saying, well, the Warriors could still come back and contend for a championship next year. On what planet do you live? On what planet do you live? Over an 82-game season, watching what that team was, you think that team could just run it back next year and still be a contender? That they're just going to remarkably be 15 games better than they were this year? When these things start to deteriorate, they don't tend to just suddenly stop and go back in the other direction. They might be a playoff team next year. I mean, when you look at the West, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. But to think that this team can suddenly be a title contender next year, when they got bounced in 6 games by the Lakers, you think this team is capable of just flipping the switch next year and being back to a 55-win team? You got another thing coming. You're going to be very disappointed as a Warriors fan if that's the case. And like I said, they got a lot of questions in this offseason, starting with their general manager, Bob Myers. All right, enough about the Warriors. Let's talk about the PGA Championship. Miami leads Boston 103-98, 9:48 to go, fourth quarter. On the other side, Cam Rogers talks betting and the PGA Championship. I'm Jason Page. This is the Cash In on SportsMap Radio. Can't believe this game isn't on. So ridiculous. It's so crazy that I can't watch this game. Quick rejoin coming back here. Welcome back to the show. Always happy to talk some golf. The PGA Championship gets started. Oak Hill Country Club, Rochester, New York on Thursday. And a lot of storylines, as there always is, going into a major. We talk about it now with our good friend Cam Rogers. Does a great job over on Stadium. You can catch his show there Friday nights throughout the weekend as well. You could also catch him on his own podcast. It's called the Lock It In Podcast. So he's everywhere. He's blowing up. So I'm glad I can get him while he's still gettable. Welcome back to the show. Always happy to talk some golf. The PGA Championship gets started. Oak Hill. Yep. Mm-hmm. Welcome back to the show. Always happy to talk some golf. The PGA Championship gets started. Oak Hill Country Club, Rochester, New York on Thursday. And a lot of storylines, as there always is, going into a major. We talk about it now with our good friend Cam Rogers. does a great job over on Stadium. You can catch his show there Friday nights throughout the weekend as well. You could also catch him on his own podcast. It's called the Lock It In Podcast. So he's everywhere. He's blowing up. So I'm glad I can get him while he's still gettable. All right, Cam. At BetMGM, John Rahm to win seems like from what I've read, is the bet getting the most play. I won't bury the lead here. Usually I ask for a winner at the end. Is he your pick to win this week?
John Rahm is not my pick to win, and he is firmly, Jason, in the unbettable category of outrights in golf. I can't go there at plus 750. I just can't. Not in a field of hundreds.
Want to give me that money? You want to give me that money instead?
I mean, sure. Why not? Because, he's not going to win this week. Couple of things. Number one, he's dealing with the media attention, the pomp and circumstance of being the Masters champion. Right now, he has proven since the Masters victory in between the PGA and the Masters that he can contend, he can play well, but he's playing in another major. And I used this logic with Scotty Scheffler at the Masters being the defending champion and what have you. I didn't think he was going to win. He didn't win. I think there are so many players right now playing so well that Rahm is going to have to deal with the likes of a Tony Finau, Patrick Cantlay, even Ricky Fowler is playing really good golf right now. So there's a lot stacked up against him. And at that price, I just can't do it. So no John Rahm for me this week.
Well, it's easy to pick the guys that won't win. I mean, that's a long list. Give me a winner then. Tell me, who do you like?
Xander Schauffele is going to win the PGA Championship this week, and here is why. 10th at the Masters, top 5 at the RBC Heritage, top 10 at the Wells Fargo, 4th tee to green over the last 50 rounds, 5th in par 4 efficiency. This is a par 70, meaning a lot more par 4s than what you'll see at a 71 or 72, of course. Overall, elite major championship resume, right? 5th in strokes gained total in the majors over the last 50 rounds. Donald Ross designed golf course this week. Xander won the 2017 Tour Championship at Eastlake. Donald Ross designed golf course. It's his time. The PGA Championship seemingly is a platform for guys to break through in the major championship capacity. I think Xander gets it done this week. 16-1. It's a little bit shorter than earlier this week, maybe because people are listening to me. I don't know, Jason, but I think he gets it done this week.
FanDuel, he's 17-1, and Rahm is 8.5-1 right now. Looking at the most recent odds. So what does that say for Scotty Scheffler then? Because I haven't heard you talking about him.
He's number 2 in terms of my power rankings here this week. I mean, he's on a ridiculous run, has finished 12th or better in each of his last 13 events, has finished 21st or better in 10 of his last 11 majors. So if you want to lock, top 20, Scotty Scheffler, lay the juice, leads the field off the tee, 6th in approach, really just good overall game. What is there to say? I just can't go there with the price, plus 750. Again, just one of those situations where I can't justify putting money down at that number when you have a field of 156 players. So, Scotty Scheffler will be a part of the conversation this weekend, no doubt about it, especially because of his driving game.
We're talking with our friend Cam Rogers joining the show today, talk a little bit about the Oak Hill Country Club edition of this PGA Championship going on this week. What's going on with Rory McIlroy? I'm surprised to see him at 13-1, given his struggles. I know, he said, all right, I got to talk with Tiger or whatever. Everybody talks to Tiger. Nobody plays with Tiger anymore, but everybody talks to Tiger. Are you surprised McIlroy's odds are this good?
I actually am, and I wonder if there's a lot of public money going into Rory right now. I haven't looked at the bet slips, if you will, but here's the situation with Rory. All of the data, all of the trends, everything was pointing to him to win the Masters, and I was singing it from the rooftops. What does he do? Miss the cut. And then he has to show up at the RBC Heritage, an elevated event, the next week. What does he do? He skips it and then gets fined $3 million. Okay. He shows up to the Wells Fargo, T47. That was an elevated event. So to your point, the play has been awful. And for a guy that short who hasn't won a major since 2014, can't go there at that number. The trends are bad for him right now. He does not fit the things that I want here this week at the PGA Championship. And then you throw in the fact that, he's not answering the questions anymore about LIV. He's shrugging it off. And that tells me, Jason, people on his inside are saying hey, stop answering these questions. I think they're affecting your game. So it's probably the right thing to do to not entertain these live questions anymore. But the proof is still not in the pudding as far as good play is concerned. So I can't go there with Rory this week.
Talking with Cam Rogers, giving us some time on the show, talking a little bit about this. My dog is literally barking in the middle of the interview in his sleep. This is hilarious. You cannot make this stuff up. My dog is literally
organic
barking.
Background.
He is sleep barking. Listen to him. You could actually hear him sleep barking. The dog is barking in his sleep. It's great.
Animal Planet right here.
Can't live radio. You can't make this stuff up. Stop barking. Wake up. Stop. You're freaking me out. Go back to the Rory thing for a second with him not talking about live anymore. It's kind of hard to believe because it felt like he was in control of everything, his emotions. He was sort of the ambassador for the PGA Tour in this live PGA battle. And then it just feels like whatever happened at the Masters, and nobody's even really gotten a clear indication. He's talking about, mental health or, anxiety or whatever. He was going through something. He talked about it with, the PGA Tour. Obviously, they didn't buy into the whole thing. Where is he right now? Does anybody have any sense as to mentally where Rory McIlroy is right now?
Yeah, it's always difficult because PGA Tour golfers typically are very private figures and not all of them speak to the media and what have you. Rory typically does. And to your point, he has been the torch holder outside of Tiger for PGA Tour loyalty and leadership and all of this stuff. And for him to not want to expand more so on this live PGA divide is very telling to me. And I think he's trying to change his mentality, his process going into a major championship, because what did he do before the Masters? He talked about live a lot and he missed the cut. So there's definitely something going on in between the ears with McIlroy. Maybe it's too much pressure on himself for not performing in the majors of late. I don't know necessarily, but we know this, Jason. As somebody who recently played golf on a very difficult golf course, golf is very mental. And if your mind isn't right, your scores are going to be very high.
Yeah, it's very true. Cam, interesting bet I noticed, at least on FanDuel, and I'm sure other sites have it as well. I just use them for the sake of using one site here on the show. Tournament winning score, 8 under or worse, is minus 150. 9 under or better is plus 122. That tells me they think this thing is going to play like a beast for 4 days. Where do you lie with that kind of a number?
Yeah, I would lay the juice with 8 under or worse. And Here's why. This golf course is going to be a massive test, a fair test. So I don't think the players are going to complain, which is something you'll see at a U.S. Open sometimes, but probably not this week. It's a par 70, 7,400 yards. The revamp back in 2019 by Andrew Green really lengthened this golf course. So whatever you saw in 2013, and oh, by the way, it played tough then, it's going to be even tougher here in this edition of the PGA Championship. And I think maybe Vegas is factoring in the weather too, Jason. We're talking about Rochester, New York in May. Can be volatile. It's going to be 77, sunny on Friday. Saturday, 61 for a high, rainy, damp, difficult conditions. I think this is going to be a grinded out affair. The rough seems very penal as well. So, I think the winning score is probably going to be something along the lines of what Sean McKeel did back in 2003, winning out of nowhere at 5 under par. So I do like that number there, minus 150.
I thought I had some Sam Champion on the show or something. I was getting the weather report and everything. You're like full service. Hey, do you have a prop bet that you like? Is there any one particular prop bet that you like for this week?
My lock of the week is Ricky Fowler for a top 20. I do think a major championship breakthrough is coming, maybe in 2024, but he's having a great year so far. 6 top 20s in his past 8 starts, 7th on tour with his irons. That's a complete 180 from what we saw last year. His game was in ruins last year, Jason, and yet he finished T23 at the PGA Championship. So you're telling me he's playing better now and you're getting plus money for Ricky inside the top 20? I'll take that all day.
That's Cam Rogers. Cam Rogers. He's the host of the Lock It In podcast. I can't talk today. Catch him over on Stadium as well. What's the name of that show on Stadium again?
Believe Me, Friday nights, 9:00 Eastern time.
Great stuff. Cam, always appreciate it, my friend. Be well.
Thank you, Jason.
Always appreciate Cam giving us some time on the show. And again, catch him over on Stadium, also his podcast, courtesy of Believe. The phone number, I have not given out the phone number tonight. I just realized that. 1-800-224-2004. 800-224-2004 is the phone number. You can hit us up on the text line as well. 888-670-8549. 888-670-8549. Text the show. I don't have the game on, but I have the score behind me. That's about the best I can do for y'all. We're back with more of the Cash In. It's SportsMap Radio. Yeah, see, like I can use the tidbit and put the score of the... I have like a scoreboard behind me. Like I could turn it into a scoreboard. If you go look at the video feed, you'll see it. It's pretty wild. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I just blasted YouTube on Twitter. It's like, you guys suck. Just been running around like crazy between the show and trying to get the TV show done and get that off the ground. And we're traveling east on Friday for 5 days. It's a lot going on. Just tired. How's life in Houston? In Houston. Oh yeah. What job? What kind of job? Oh, wow. You still going to be working at SportsMap? Cool. Finding a job is always good news, though. Oh, the game came back on for literally a second. That was so mean. Wow. Then they have a button, send feedback. How about, here's my feedback. You suck. Jesus. Well, I still can't watch the game. So if you want to tell me what's going on with the Heat and Celtics, feel free. Miami leads 117-110, 127 to go in the fourth quarter. Here's an amazing thing, and I didn't know this till the other day. Somebody brought it up. Eric Spoelstra has never won a Coach of the Year award, which just goes to show you how damn useless that award is. Yep. Never won Coach of the Year. How is that possible? George Karl's won a Coach of the Year. He ain't ever won anything. Mike Budenholzer won one. Has Doc Rivers won? I'm sure Doc Rivers won one somewhere. I'm sure all these guys have. Somehow Eric Spoelstra never won a Coach of the Year award. And he's got rings. Dude's never won. Dude's never won Coach of the Year. Which, again, it just goes to show you. Yep. Makes you wonder. It really does. It makes you wonder, how valuable that award really is. Like, look for example, as a perfect example this year. I mean, it's a great story. Mike Brown wins the award in Sacramento, and they had a great year. They exceeded expectations. They're on the come. It's a great story, but you could have just as easily given it to Joe Mazzulla. I mean, the guy literally found out he was going to be head coach of the team 5 minutes before the season started. and they were what, the 2 seed in the East. I mean, you could have given it to him. Could have given it to Tom Thibodeau, the coach of the Knicks. I don't know. You could have given it to Mike Malone. They had the best record in the West. And you wouldn't have. Eric Spoelstra would have been like 10th on your list, 11th, 12th on your list if you were even. I mean, they were a play-in team, for crying out loud. But it just goes. That's why these awards are, based on it's based on the regular season. But that's not the season. The season goes. The regular season in the NBA ended like 4 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, or whatever the hell it was. What was it? 3 weeks ago. And you got a whole second season that's going on right now. It's another like 20 games for some of these teams. Yet we give out Coach of the Year. And I'm not saying you can't give it to a guy based on the regular season. But I mean, is this such a crazy thought? Let's do the voting. Let's do the voting after the playoffs ended. Now, some will say, well, then you're only going to give it to a championship team. No, if a team really exceeded expectations in the regular season, made the playoffs, got bounced in the playoffs, it'd still be your prerogative to give the award to somebody based on the regular season. But if, let's just say, Eric Spoelstra takes the Miami Heat from the play-in games, because remember, they had to play multiple play-in games, and takes them to an NBA championship. I mean, if they made it to the finals, would you count them out? Would you bet against them? You do so at your own peril if you choose to. It's just idiotic. I mean, the same stuff with the MVP, all these awards that are based on the regular season. I mean, Aaron Judge got the MVP last year. If they gave that award out after the season was over, I still think he would have been the AL MVP. If they gave it out after the playoffs, I still think he would have won MVP. I don't think it would have made a difference. So why not give it out after the playoffs? Because a team might do something extraordinary in the playoffs, like what Eric Spoelstra is doing right now. And it might warrant the idea of giving it to Eric Spoelstra if they were to win an NBA title this year. I mean, look, he knows he's great. The Heat organization knows he's great. That guy's going to be the Heat coach as long as he wants to. Remember, he's also playing for a guy named Pat Riley. And Pat Riley comes from a generation where coaches used to stick around for 10, 15 years. They used to have longevity. Not the case anymore. You've seen what's happened around the league. You don't need me to tell you. It's 122-114, Miami on top of Boston with 24 seconds to go. So the Heat are going to get game one. Wow. Not that I could tell you what happened in the game, but the Heat are going to get game one. Because I literally was just watching Chop for the entire game. It got so bad I went and turned on the Yankee game. A regular season baseball game on Amazon Prime rather than watch YouTube TV because it sucked so bad tonight. And I have to be honest, normally YouTube TV has been very good. I have never had an issue like this one tonight. I'll be fair and say that. I have never had an issue where I've completely lost a game because YouTube TV decided to freeze up. I have never had that issue. Tonight was the first time. But it was a really sucky night for it to happen. All right, you want to call in? 800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You want to text the show? Go ahead and do it. 888-670-8549, 888-670-8549 if you want to text the show. Wow, Bucks interview Kelvin Sampson for their head coaching job. Somebody came on last night. It was Kurt Heelan who came on last night and said they might go outside the box for their job, whereas Phoenix, Philadelphia are more likely to go with established guys, that the Bucks might go do something a little bit different. And it looks like they're certainly in the mood to entertain the idea of some different guys. Kelvin Sampson, that would be an interesting hire. That would be a very interesting hire. Of course, the coach at Houston. You're in Houston there, Charles. Think Kelvin Sampson will make a good NBA head coach? Wow. That's it? One word? I'd like to see Kenny. I think Kenny Smith would be a good NBA head coach. I would love to see Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith interviewed for the Knicks job years ago. So he's gone through a process before, or he's at least had conversations about it, with teams. Definitely with the Knicks. And if there was ever a guy that would have been a good coach for Houston, obviously it's not happening now, it would have been him. I still can't help but laugh at the fact that Houston did all that sucking, was historically bad last year, and they still don't get the VW. They still don't get a VW. They get a broken down jalopy. They ain't getting no VW. They get the fourth pick. They don't even get the booby prize of Scoot Henderson. No. You get the fourth pick in the draft. Yep. The Blazers are talking about trading the third pick, interestingly enough. Talking about dealing that pick away because, again, unless you got one or two, there wasn't anything that was going to be a game changer in this draft outside of, Scoot. I know the kid out of Alabama, they're talking about potentially he could wind up going to now. Because Charlotte got the pick and they already got a guard. Are they going to draft another guard with Scoot Henderson already being there? But there was talk Portland might deal that pick. I don't know to who, but somebody might be moving up. Be interesting to see who. Is it over yet? It's a final? Hold on. Let me turn around and look at my scoreboard. 123-116. Miami with a 1-0 series lead. It's on my scoreboard. There you go. So Miami gets the win in game one. Game two odds have already come out with Miami a 9.5-point underdog. It just to make people don't learn. And I'll tell you right now, I'll take Miami plus 9.5. I told you last night, take Miami plus the 8.5. I'll tell you right now, take Miami plus the 9.5. Is there anything in this Celtics DNA? And don't talk to me about Game 7 against Philly, because that was as much about the Sixers rolling over and dying as it was the Celtics. If you're not taking Miami plus 9.5, you do so at your own peril. I'm not going to feel bad for you when you have to mortgage, I don't know, a kidney or something. Donate a kidney. Another hour of the cash in is right around the corner. Stay with us. Forget mediocrity, you suck. That's not mediocrity. That is prolifically bad. Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, look, when you look at the odds of winning the lottery and getting the top pick, it's just not, they've made it so much more difficult. Well, if you believe in it being fixed, you would believe San Antonio was going to win the draft, was going to win the lottery. Mm-hmm. Viva la France. Mm-hmm. Nefarious. Gimpy, gimpy. Gimpy, gimpy. So much work to do after I finish this show tonight. You don't have to go over to the other side tonight, do you? Okay. Just making sure. Trying to keep you out of trouble. It's all good. I'd rather you be locked in than playing Anthony Pepe rejoins. Nope. Absolutely not. Fun is that? Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum. Oh, it already dropped to 9. It went from 9.5 to 9 in about 5 minutes, which tells you the money was going on the Heat real fast. Yeah. What should I put on in my background now that the game's over? Let's see. I got put anything I want. Let's see. I gotta look around. No, I don't know. But another hour of the show starts right now on SportsMap Radio and the SportsMap Radio app. This is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. What do we put on in the what do we put on in the background right now with the game over? This is what I basically got tonight from the folks at YouTube TV. If you're watching on the video stream tonight, you'll get and you look at the backdrop of the show, you'll see exactly what I got from the folks at YouTube TV tonight, who just decided to screw me royally. Wait, you see it? Yeah. That's basically what I got from YouTube TV tonight. Please stand by, color bars. Beep, like the flat line. Can't make this stuff up. So just to prove my point about the fact that you should run to your nearest legal bookmaking institution and take the Miami Heat plus 9.5 for game 2 Friday night against Boston, that line has already dropped a half a point, which means mad money was flowing towards the Miami Heat. When you get a line that immediately drops from 9.5 to 9, just minutes after a spread is established, it tells you everybody's saying that spread is wrong. Go and put your money on Miami. And I wouldn't be shocked if by the time we got to Friday night, it was 8. And that is a significant drop. Would not shock me at all. Miami's in it to win it, man. This is a different team in the playoffs than it was all regular season. And at some point, I don't know, after they've won 2 series, after they've beaten the 1 seed, after they beat a Knicks team that was favored to win the series, you'd think people would get smart. You'd think people would start to figure it out, that this Heat team is way better than they were given credit for. And look, nobody had any reason to believe. Hell, after I watched, I think they played, Atlanta in the play-in game, the first play-in game, when they lost. And I remember coming on the air that night and crushing them because they were at home against Atlanta. Win that game, boom, you're in. They got absolutely destroyed at home by Atlanta. And I remember saying, if that's the kind of performance that team, they were uninspired. Jimmy Butler, the Jimmy Butler you've seen over the course of this postseason, that was not the Jimmy Butler in the play-in game. Then he showed up, played really well in their second play-in game, which got them into the postseason. But to me, this is a completely different team from what we've seen all year. And I'll say it again, this team still doesn't have Tyler Hero. And there was talk he'd be back for the postseason. If they were to get in, right now they're saying he still can't shoot or dribble. So that makes me believe that even if this team winds up making the NBA Finals, Tyler Hero is probably not playing. If the dude's not able to shoot or dribble now, you might have another 2 weeks max. You tell him he's going to be able to 2 more weeks, get back. No. He's not going to make it back. And that's a shame for the Heat. Traveling with the team, but he ain't playing. But that's an impressive win for the Heat, who were down, I think, double digits in that game early on. Heat win 123-116 by the numbers. Let's go through it. Jimmy Butler, what do you expect? 35 on 12 of 25 shooting, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. How about this number? 6 steals. Miami had 12 steals in this game tonight. That's a big number. It's a gaudy number. The difference at the end of the day, though, look what they got out of Strus, what they got out of Bio. Kyle Lowry had 15 off the bench. He hit some threes in the second quarter that were crucial for that team. Or that game could have slipped away because Boston was making shots. Caleb Martin had 15. You had 6 guys for the Heat in double figures. You can't blame Jason Tatum tonight. He had 30 for the Celtics. Jaylen Brown had 22. Brogdon had 19 off the bench. Both teams shot it pretty well, over 50%, but the story at the end of the day, a win for the Miami Heat, 123-116. Despite the fact they went to the free throw line less, the rebounding was basically even. It's a hell of a win for the Miami Heat on the road, and they've done what they came to do. They got game one. And you think about, the great players in the league that do not have a championship right now. Think about the great players in the NBA that currently don't have a title. And you never stop to think about Jimmy Butler as one of those great players who's never won a title, but he is. He's one of those great players that never won an NBA title. And really, he hasn't won an MVP and stuff like that, but this is the one thing really missing from his resume. That would be a championship. He's been a great player. He's been recognized by his peers, recognized by people around the league. But championship, that'd be a real game changer for him when you think about his career and its trajectory. All right, phone number in this hour of the show, 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You want to text the show, go ahead and do it. 888-670-8549 after the Miami Heat get a Game 1 win. 888-670-8549 is the telephone number, or I should say on the text line. That's the text line number. We told you about the Miami win. There won't be any hockey until tomorrow, which is why you haven't heard me mention any hockey scores. I'm not neglecting it. I'm not ignoring it. There's just nothing to tell because there's no games tonight. 2 nights off, which is kind of weird. Couple of things I want to dig into a little bit here. Ja Morant, JJ Redick. I'll get into both of them here, and if we have to, we'll leak it over into the next segment. So late at the very end of last night's show, I had a chance to read off Ja Morant's statement, which came in the wake of the comments from Adam Silver during last night's draft lottery. And if you haven't seen the statement by now, you've been living in a cave, but I'll read it anyway. The Ja Morant statement last night read the following. I know I've disappointed a lot of people who have supported me. This is a journey, and I recognize there is more work to do. My words may not mean much right now, but I take full accountability for my actions. I'm committed to continuing to work on myself. And it is just words. It's garbage. There were people out there today suggesting that he had a chat, whatever it's called, chat AI or chat, what's that thing called? Chat AI? Is that what it's called? Yeah, the AI thing. Chat GPT, that's what it's called. Thank you. Chat GPT that some people were like, the way that thing looked, it almost looked like he said, hey, type in an apology statement for Ja Morant. And that's what it came up with. Because it just felt like it was straight out of Chat GPT. It had no real emotion. It didn't have any feeling to it or sincerity or remorse. Not that you could generally read those things, through something like that, but still, it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny that, a lot of people looked at it and said, that doesn't even look legit. Like if I go into Chat GPT right now, here, let's do something funny here. You ready? Watch this. Chat GPT. Oh, I'm going to do it. Give me a apology from Ja Morant. There we go. Dear fans, teammates, and everyone who supports me, I want to sincerely apologize for my recent actions and any disappointment or frustration that may have caused. I understand that as a professional athlete, I have a responsibility to conduct myself in a manner that reflects positively on my team, the organization, and the sport itself. I deeply regret state the actions for which John Morant is apologizing. My behavior was unacceptable, and it does not align with the values and principles I hold dear. I take full responsibility for my actions and the consequences they have brought. I want to assure you I'm committed to learning from this experience and becoming a better person and player as a result. I will strive to be a positive role model and ambassador for the sport, both on and off the court. I understand the impact my actions can have, especially on young fans who look up to me, and I'll work tirelessly to earn back your trust and support. Once again, I offer my heartfelt apologies to everyone affected by my actions. Thank you for your understanding, and I promise to do better moving forward. Tell me that sounds all that much different from what I just read. I mean, but my point is that basically sounds very similar to what John Morant said. And that literally took 5 seconds. Thank you, ChatGPT. Replacing humans everywhere over the next several years. I won't be on the radio in another 5 years. It'll just be some automated voice giving opinions. I'm telling you, we are all screwed, man. We are all so screwed. You want to be writing the software. I listen, if anything, you want to be the one writing the code. It's like, don't be the person working at McDonald's. Be the person creating the robots that are going to prepare your food at McDonald's. That's it. That's the future, man. They're already doing away with cashiers. You could just go to a kiosk and pay for your Big Mac. We are all doomed, man. It's going to be a robot world. Aliens are going to get here. There's just going to be robots here. Ain't going to be nothing to pick over. We're coming back. Post-game reaction on the Celtics and Heat right around the corner. You like my please stand by in the background? Ain't that great? It's just awesome. I can literally find anything to put on this backdrop. I got to grab a drink. I might need an alcoholic one right now. That was pretty funny, by the way. Sean. I had ChatGPT write me an apology for John Morant. And it basically came up with very much the same thing. Basically what it's competing with. Yeah, we have 7-Up. That's also Pepsi, yes. See what I put in the background?
An egg? Oh.
It's pretty funny. And that still shows up decent on the screen. Yeah, a lot of people reacted to my
Ran on YouTube.
yeah.
So you want to start off with it, buddy?
No, I probably won't need it this late. Peace out. All the baseball games are done, so I'm not putting that on the screen. Yeah. Good song. I didn't see No Doubt in concert, but I've seen Gwen Stefani. Is this Gwen or is this No Doubt? It is Gwen. Yeah, I saw Gwen at Madison Square Garden about 16 years ago. Maybe 17 years ago. Something like that. Good times. Good times. Oh, what should we put on the background now here in Studio J? Yeah, we've officially named it now. We now work out of Studio J. It's kind of cool. Anywho, the Heat beat the Celtics tonight 123-116. That is a wrap. We are keeping an eye on post-game. As soon as there is some to give you, we will hear from the head coach of the Celtics, Joe Mazzulla. We'll also hear from Eric Spoelstra, head coach of the Heat. So all of that around the corner here as we continue with the show tonight. The phone lines are open, 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. If you want to hit us up on the text line, you can do that too. 888-670-8549, 888-670-8549 if you wish to opine via text as we move through the evening. So we were talking about the Ja Morant thing, and I said there was a JJ Redick element to this that I wanted to talk about. So Ja Morant, gives this Chat GPT like apology last night, and then JJ Redick comes on, and look, it's just it's like the line in Anchorman when Will Ferrell's character, when Ron Burgundy says to the sports guy, hey, you just might want to sit this one out. JJ Redick, you just might want to sit this one out. So JJ Redick was, Mad Dog said Ja Morant should be suspended for 40 games. I think that's the high end of where this is going to go. I think it's more likely 25. If I had to guess, I think they're going to bang him for about 25 games next season. That's my guess. But I want you to listen to JJ Redick and this outside-the-box thought. Sometimes it's good to be outside the box. It's good to have a different process or a thought to some of these things. But JJ went way off the rails here.
Again, we can go into the backstory of the incident with the teenager. Ja's claiming self-defense, that the teenager threw the ball in his face. We can go into the incident at the mall when he yelled at his security guard. We can go into the incident with the Indiana Pacers traveling party. As far as we know, all of these things have been investigated and no law has been broken. I'm not condoning the behavior. I'm not saying there should be no punishment. There should be consequences. You are the face of the league. You are representing the NBA. You are a role model to young kids. All of that. I don't think half a season is the right answer. And the last point I want to make, because you bring this up, the guns on social media. We talk about consequences. Look, in our country right now, gun culture is pervasive. It's pervasive. We've got mass shooting after mass shooting, and nobody's doing a damn thing about it. So I get why we're so sensitive to this right now. But there's no consequence for Greg Abbott telling his constituents that they should go buy more guns, and then we have mass shooting after mass shooting in Texas. There's no consequence for an elected Tennessee official to send out a Christmas card holding AR-15s with his young family, and then there's a shooting in his very district. There's no consequences to that. So why are we trying to lay down the hammer on a 23-year-old who didn't break a law? Explain that to me.
I can explain it real easy. See, and this is, I get it. It's TV. We all got to get up and scream and pound the desk. I got to pound the desk. Because I got to make sure I'm mad. Because my face on TV isn't enough to tell you I'm mad. I got to pound the desk. Why are we going to punish this kid? Let me tell you why. Okay, and I don't need to scream to do it, JJ Redick. I'm gonna break it down nice and in a nice soft tone. I'm going to try. Charles, if I start to yell, remind me that I said I wasn't going to yell. Okay? Because I'm trying to be softer, gentler. I don't want to yell too much tonight. Okay? Thank you. Let me explain it real simple for the idiots in the cheap seats like JJ here. First of all, what he said about Texas and the governor there, Greg Abbott, what he said about Tennessee and this congressman who took a Christmas picture with him and his kids holding, assault rifles. He's completely right. It has absolutely, I'm not going to yell, it has absolutely nothing to do with this. Nothing. Not a thing. It has nothing to do with Ja Morant. I said this last night on the show. Maybe JJ wasn't listening. Maybe somebody wants to send him a clip of this. JJ, it's about optics. It's about optics, optics, optics. You have a 22-year-old, 23-year-old who 10 weeks ago basically just got punished by the league for having a gun on the road, whether it's his, whether it's somebody else's, who the hell knows. Everybody probably looked around and said, not my gun, not my gun, not my gun, not my gun. And he got a slap on the wrist with 8 games. And then he gave this statement and this interview, and he tried to tell us all he's trying to deal with some things and anxiety. And by the way, I deal with anxiety. I know what anxiety is. I go to therapy for it every Friday. Okay? So I don't need some lecture from Ja Morant on anxiety. On this kid making millions and millions and millions of dollars. And anxiety. Okay? But that's what he wants to say. I'm not going to challenge it. But I don't need a lecture from him or anybody else. So then, goes through the rest of the regular season, playoffs, season ends, and not more than what? A week and a half later, 2 weeks later, he's on IG Live again. And he's got a gun in his hand again. And he's waving it around like he just don't care again. Now, for JJ Redick, who thinks there shouldn't be a hammer brought down on him, here's what I think JJ Redick should do. JJ Redick should walk into Bristol tomorrow, a building I've been in because I've worked for this company. And JJ should walk in with a gun tomorrow. There's no gun detectors there. There's no metal detectors. He can walk in with a gun. And I want him to go on the set. You know what? Just go into the lunchroom and take an IG video of yourself. And bring in a gun and wave it around on your IG video. Put it up on YouTube. Put it on Instagram. Insta, like the kids say. And I want you to tell me, JJ Redick, what happens to you at ESPN? You'll be gone on your ass by the end of the day. On your ass by the end of the day. Because there's consequences. It's not about the law. Every workplace has its own rules. The guy is under contract to the Memphis Grizzlies of the National Basketball Association. So it isn't about the law. It has nothing to do with some idiotic governor in Texas. It has nothing to do with some goofball congressman in Tennessee who had a shooting in his district that took the lives of plenty. This is about Ja Morant. Don't conflate what's going on in Texas and Tennessee with Ja. The league has a right to try and uphold a certain image which its players are partly responsible for keeping. And if you don't live up to that code of conduct, by the way, it's not like I see the NBA Players Association jumping up and down for Ja Morant right now saying, yeah, we need to protect our boy. It's not like I hear tons of players jumping up and down saying, yeah, we need to protect Ja Morant from the evil NBA and the suspension that's likely coming from Adam Silver. You don't hear any of that because he done gone screwed up. And no, he may not ever shoot anybody. But the gun could go off by accident, and it's about the message he's sending. This is not what the league wants to portray. It's their league. Adam Silver, the owners, they run the show. And I think JJ Redick is incredibly smart when it comes to talking about basketball. But he could not have been further off the rails with this take on Ja Morant. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. Hit us up on the text line. 888-670-8549. The text line is open, 888-670-8549. Hello to our friends in Dallas, listening on 97.1 The Freak. Our friends in Austin on the Horn. Wisconsin, Maine, Michigan, South Carolina. Love all you guys. We're back with more of the cash-in. Stay with us. I want that in the podcast. I want that part. That it was about 5 minutes or so, something like that, 6 minutes. I want that in the podcast. Yeah, I want that, and I want the stuff I said about Ja last segment. Huh? No. I'm saying I want it in the podcast. Yeah. Oh, you mean you could send it to me? Yeah, feel free. No, I want it. I want it for the pod. I want those two segments in the podcast. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Oh well, I would like a promo of the Ja Morant stuff with Redick. Problem is, I don't know how we'd do it because it's a little long, so I'm not sure how we would do it. The Machine. See the trailer for that commercial? The trailer for that movie looks kind of funny. Mark Hamill's in it, the guy that was played Luke Skywalker. It's a comedy. I've been playing not the newest Star Wars game, but I'm playing the one before it. Yeah. Now, is it Fallen Order? The one with Cal? The first one with Cal? Yeah, I'm playing that right now. Yeah, my husband's much closer to beating it. I think he's about 65 or 70% complete. I'm probably about 45 or 50. Yeah, you got to go. And not just that. You have to, literally go back and forth to the ship. And I'm like, that's stupid. Once I beat a level or accomplish a mission, just put me back on the ship. Yeah. Da 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 da. Yes. Da 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 da. What should we put on here? Let's see. I'm going to do the summer countdown on the tidbit behind me. 35 days till summer. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. DJ Charles Carter playing some good tunes tonight. Making good choices. That's what I like. The head coach of the Boston Celtics is Joe Mazzulla. His team finds itself in a 1-0 hole after a loss to the Miami Heat tonight in Boston, 123-116. Here is the coach himself.
Didn't guard the three-point line.
This is your fourth home loss. I know I asked you that question in practice yesterday, but again, you're 500 at home. How does that keep happening?
I don't think that has anything to do with the fact that, we won 3 out of the 4 quarters. We got away from who we are in the third quarter, whether it's home or away. It's the details, it's the margins, it's the little things. We've shown we can do it both home and away, and I don't think that matters as much as what our mindset is during certain stretches.
When it's going like that, I mean, you gave up 46 points in that third. Obviously, if you knew how to stop it, you would have stopped it. But, I mean, that's where along the way could it have been stopped where it wasn't?
Get better shots, don't turn it over, and don't foul, don't give up offensive rebounds, and don't give up threes.
You spoke at practice about needing to dial back into that urgency from the last few games of the Philadelphia series. How did you think your team adjusted to a totally different type of series in this Miami matchup?
I thought the first half was good, and I thought we just let go of the rope in the third quarter, lost that sense of urgency. Adjusting to the fact that we played harder than them in the first half, and they played harder than us in the second half, third quarter.
They shot higher than 50% from 3. Was that them hitting shots? Did you see something in terms of getting out on them?
That kind of goes back to some of our game plan execution as far as taking away certain personnel. Lowry hit one in transition, which he's great at. Love hit one in transition, which he hunts. We lost sight of Strus a couple times. He hit a deep one. So I think it's just more about personnel tendencies, game plan, execution.
And evaluation of the fourth quarter execution down the stretch, what did you see there on the offensive
it was
side?
much better than our third quarter defensive execution.
Joe, you called the timeout, I think, after a stop with 3.5 minutes left in the game. What were you telling the team you were looking for, and how come you think you guys turned it over like several times after that?
Just our spacing. It was a use it or lose it. Had 3, used one before 3. Got to our spacing. Floor wasn't balanced, and they were able to shift off of us.
And going up against Spoelstra, who's constantly making adjustments on the fly, willing to kind of call timeouts and change things up so quickly, how did you balance trying to let things play out in the ways you usually do versus having to seize control?
I called 2 in the first quarter.
Thinking more like the third quarter.
No, I don't call 2 in the first quarter. Save it for the third quarter run.
Joe, just to your right, just a thought on being down 1-0. You were down last year. You're down last year to the same team, 1-0 as you look ahead.
Yes, we are down 1-0.
What things do you need to do now as far as?
Game plan discipline, transition defense, defend without fouling, guard the three-point line, have a better understanding of personnel tendencies, and then on the offensive end, this team does a great job of taking advantage of bad spacing and bad offensive organization.
Joe, you said they played harder than you in the third quarter. That's what they do. They play harder than their opponent. How are you guys unprepared for that? And
we were prepared. We played harder than them in the first half, and then they outplayed us for 1 quarter. So we were prepared for it. We had the right mindset heading into the game. No. We had the right mindset heading into the game. We played harder than they did, and we were prepared. And we did a great job.
The third quarter made all the difference, right?
It did, but we were prepared, and then we let go of the rope. And so there's 2 storylines here. It's one, we were ready to play, and we had a great job executing on both ends of the floor in the first half. And it's about the consistency of they're going to continue to play. And so we have to be prepared for when we do outplay them, that they're going to respond and we have to respond. And so we were prepared. We just let go of the rope.
Yeah, why did you let go of the rope?
I don't know. It's a great question. And that's what we have to figure out. But it came from our attention to detail. But we were prepared for the game, and we were prepared for them, and our guys came out and played. And then we have to be better in the third quarter.
Joe, you mentioned a few times getting away from the game plan. What specifically veered out of what you guys were trying to do? I guess specifically for the...
All right, the audio went a little goofy there with Joe Mazzulla, but that was actually a good place to stop it because was it just me? But he bristled when the suggestion was made, why weren't you prepared in that third quarter? Why weren't you prepared for, their sort of grind it out, keep coming at you sort of style? And you could see at every opportunity he cut off the reporter to say, no, we weren't unprepared. Because the worst thing you could be accused of as a head coach is not being prepared. It's the idea, it's lack of preparation. You weren't ready. You didn't have them ready to play. And he wasn't having any of that. I mean, I just think it's kind of laughable, this whole thing of, we outplayed them for 3 of the 4 quarters. This isn't a scorecard like a boxing match. Well, you win 3 rounds to 1, champion, the Boston Celtics. That's not how it's done. So this constant refrain from Joe Mazzulla of, we outplayed them 3 out of 4 quarters. It just doesn't hold any water. And again, this is back-to-back series where Joe Mazzulla is the much lesser experienced head coach. And if there's something that's going to bite Boston in the ass here in this series, it's the fact that he's staring across the sideline at a guy that has a wealth of experience, a championship head coach that's gone up against the very best and come out on top. So, Joe Mazzulla could give all the sort of snark that he wants to the media for asking certain questions, but I mean, his team just rolled over in the third quarter of this game. Miami outscored Boston. It's important to mention this. 46-25 in the third quarter. Well, Boston outscored them 30-28 in the first quarter. Well, Boston outscored them 36-29 in the second quarter. Well, Boston outscored them 25-20 in the fourth. Those are close quarters. You got outscored. You gave up 46 in the third quarter on your home floor in an NBA playoff game to a team that doesn't even have Tyler Hero? You got to be kidding me. I mean, attention to detail. No, I almost said the S word. I almost said it. No bleep, really. So Boston's down. And look, I'll tell you right now, take the Heat plus the 9. Buy the hook if you want, but you got to take the Heat plus 9. Because you could say it's one quarter, but they let Miami hang around through the first 2 quarters. So when they get to the half, a game that should be, 15-16, instead is 9 at 56-47. It's a 9-point game. Miami's going into the half saying, man, they played really well in the first half, and we're only down 9, 3 possessions. Let's get after it in the third quarter. And they did. And Boston has played like this all year. They have been this Jekyll and Hyde team. And Miami is not the same Miami right now. Forget what they did during the regular season. You're seeing the same Boston right now that you saw throughout the entire regular season and here in the playoffs. Same exact team. This is not the same Heat team, so you can't really compare them to what they were during the regular season because they're not the same. 800-224-2004 is the phone number. 800-224-2004. You want to text the show? Go ahead and do it. Text line is open. 888-670-8549. 888-670-8549. You guys have hit me up on the text line. I haven't read any of them yet. Let me crack into the text vault and see what we have. Let's see here. This is from, James in Detroit, Michigan. Hey, Jason, speaking of J.J. Redick, there's rumors surrounding about him as a possible potential candidate for the head coaching job for the Toronto Raptors. Thoughts, James from Detroit, Michigan. Look, I think teams are going to be very leery, not just about J.J. Redick, but about any of these first-time head coaches, because they are extremely hit or miss. Yes, you get a Steve Kerr, but you could get a Steve Nash too. Could go one of a couple of different ways. So you better make sure you do your homework before you hire a J.J. Redick or any of these first-time guys. We're coming back. Thank you. Is that Kawakami? No, it's Shams and Anthony Slater. Who was he ripping? Who was he ripping in that promo? All right, no worries. Do what you gotta do. All right, we're keeping an eye on Miami Heat post game. We'll hear from Eric Spoelstra at some point between now and the end of the show. You already heard from Joe Mazzulla saying his team got away from who they were in game one. And he took exception with a question that basically said, hey, why were your guys unprepared in the third quarter, for that onslaught from the Heat? And, well, he wasn't having any of that. So that's what you got out of Joe Mazzulla. We'll see what Eric Spoelstra has to say following a Miami Heat win in game number 1 of this Eastern Conference Finals series. The Lakers fell last night in Denver. Close game there, and this one was close too. Relatively close anyway. Yeah, Miami was plus 400 tonight. Miami was plus 400. Yeah, they weren't supposed to win. And again, Vegas is giving them no respect for game 2. They opened up as a 9.5-point underdog. They're now a 9-point underdog in game 2, and I will take Miami plus the 9 right now. Anybody want to challenge me? Any challengers out there? Take Miami plus the 9. Is that official? Well, I mean, the game won't be till Friday night. So, and I won't even be on the air Friday night. As I've mentioned previously, I am off. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm off on Friday and then off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week because I'll be traveling back east. So, Dad's 80th birthday. Yeah, he made it to 80. He has defied the odds. None of us thought he'd get there. We used to take bets at dinner. You think Dad makes to 80? Nah. Take the under. Take the under 79.5. We're just great family. Good fun. Oh, Dave in Connecticut texted me. He says he wants to go. He's tempted to go $5 against me on game 2. Don't sing it. Bring it. That's what I say. Text coming in. Let's see. Shane, listening in Dallas. Yes, Shane, I still owe you a gift card. No question. And I will get that out. I was just looking at a couple of headlines here while I was waiting for the Heat post-game stuff to load up because we're waiting on Eric Spoelstra. I know Jimmy Butler has already met with the media, but waiting on Eric Spoelstra. While we do, here is Jimmy Butler. Post-game thoughts with him. Another big night for Jimmy Butler. He came up with 35 on 12 of 25 shooting, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and even more importantly, 6 steals in this Heat win over the Boston Celtics in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Team that you come in to the other team's house and take away home court advantage right away.
We're just playing really good basketball. More than anything, we're staying together through the good and through the bad. It is a game of runs, and we can talk to one another. I think that's what, ultimately makes me smile is the fact that when things aren't going our ways, we can look at each other eye to eye and know when somebody's messing around, and we can fix it. I feel like we did a really good job on the defensive end. We shared the ball on offense, made some shots, got a win, but that's not enough for us, and we want to get another one in 2 days.
Jimmy, through the years, you've always taken so much pride in how much work you poured into your game, but you never want to put a limit on how high you can go. In your opinion, though, given the consistency of where you're at right now, do you think this is the highest level that your game has been at to date?
I don't think so. I really feel as though with anything in life, if you get the opportunity and you have the belief that my teammates, my coaches, Coach Pat, ownership have in me to, kind of lead the charge along with Bam right now, anything is possible. Like,
I'm playing at an incredible level because they're allowing me to do so. They're not putting a limit on my game. They're trusting me with the ball on the defensive end. And I think that's what any basketball player wants. That's what anybody wants out of life, is just to be wanted, be appreciated, and just let you go out there and rock.
Hey, Jimmy, Marcus Smart had 10 assists in the first half. As well as he was playing, were you kind of surprised not to see him as much in the second half?
Nah. I think he played well all game long. He was making all the right plays, and they made a lot of shots. He defended incredibly well, made shots too. I think they'll, watch film and see that they probably have to utilize him more. I would. I got a lot of respect for that guy, for what he does on the defensive side of the ball, and for sure what he does on the offensive side of the ball, because he plays his role to the T. So we're going to have to lock in on that, because 10.5 is some pretty good basketball.
Right. And then, coming off of Tatum had a pretty big game in Game 7. What are some of the little things you guys try to do to throw him off his game? Make him uncomfortable?
Challenge, all shots. We try to keep him off the free throw line. He shot 11 of those. We reached a little bit too much, but that's what, MVP caliber players do. They do everything incredibly well. He made shots, he got to the free throw line, hit the three, mid-post transition, all of that. We will be better next game, and he may make shots. You can't get down on that. You got to know that we play defense the right way, and we're going to keep doing that.
Jimmy, what does it feel like for your confidence and momentum when you see them start to crack a little in the third quarter? You hear their fans start to boo a bit. What does it do for you guys to hear that and feel that going forward?
Absolutely nothing, honestly. We're a confident group. Whether we're up 10, down 10, we're not too worried about the opposing team. I think whenever you do that, you get lost in what got you where. And we were so worried about us all year long and how we could be the best version of ourselves, that if we're up 10, down 10, we still need to play our style of basketball. We still need to be together, share the ball, get stops. Booing, no booing, we got to worry about the Miami Heat.
Hey, Jimmy, when you're going like you were tonight, scoring and then also on defense with the steals, how does one side of the floor impact the other? How do they cooperate for you?
I would like to think that I just play hard. I try to make the right plays on the offensive side of the ball. Probably not, I shot a couple bad ones. Like I said, my teammates, my coaches, they allow me to do that. On the defensive side of the ball, it's a lot of energy. But I'm not the only one that's doing it. So I feed off of my teammates diving on the floor, taking charges, getting back on defense, just like they feed off of my energy on the defense. It just so happened that I happened to get my hand on the basketball and get some steals. But as long as you play hard, I really believe that really good things happen majority of the time.
So there you go. Thoughts with Jimmy Butler after a Miami victory in game number 1 of this Eastern Conference Final. And we'll see how Boston comes out in game 2. Look, I'd be shocked if Boston didn't win game 2. I think this is going to be a long series. No matter what you hear me saying about Joe Mazzulla and the disparity in coaching and all that stuff, I mean, there's just too much talent on Boston. They should be able to win games purely on talent. They are the superior team from a talent standpoint. I mean, Miami is at a disadvantage in that regard. But here they are right now. Up a game. They've basically stolen home court advantage in game 1 of this series. And we'll see what happens in game 2. I would expect Boston to win, but I've said it before. Take Miami to cover. +9 is the line. It opened at 9.5 immediately after game 1. It is now Miami +9. And we'll wait to see where it lands. I think it could be as low as 8.5, 8 by the time we get to tip-off on Friday night. At 8:30 p.m. Eastern, by the way. Why? These games are on the East Coast. Why are you starting them at 8:30 at night? Why does the NBA do this? Do you think everybody wants to stay up late watching these games? It's not like baseball now where it's done in, 2 hours and 15 minutes. I mean, good grief. Well, we'll have to wait and see. We'll see if we can get some thoughts from Eric Spoelstra in the final hour of the show. That's how we wrap up hour number 2 of the program. Final hour on this Wednesday, right around the corner. Tell you about the night in baseball, a whole bunch more. The cash-in rolls along on SportsMap Radio.
Terrible incident in his life. You are alone in your house in Florida. You're nursing a combination of Xanax and rum. And you're holding a gun and you write 3 pounds. I remember thinking 3 pounds of pressure is all it takes to pull this thing. It would be just so easy.
Hulk Hogan, he's in need of support, and who does he turn to? His old friend, radio shock jock, Bubba the Love Sponge.
I continue to be myself. I continue to be politically driven, opinionated, outspoken, controversial, in your face, no holds bar.
He keeps trying to get you to go to his house and stay there. And
He wants you. He begs you to come to his house.
He really is in love with you, isn't he?
Well, my wife says we're a couple homos. Hogan was staying at Bubba's house often at this time, but what came out next was something that nobody expected. A shocking revelation sets off a domino effect.
What'd you say?
Change Hulk Hogan's world forever.
And so we're driving home from the dog.
I would take Lakers Heat.
Calls me and Hogan's down, and I just said,
Yep.
Have a little sexy outfit on and take care of my boy when we get home.
Bubba was cheering Hogan on, and that started this whole sordid ordeal.
Yeah, I mean, I know that people will say, hey, that rivalry and stuff, but that's so long. I don't know. It's not like the days of Kobe being there and Shaq being there. Yeah, it's not. It's just not. Pierce and Ray Allen and those guys. Ugh. I don't know. The Nuggets don't. I know the Nuggets are really good, and I have a lot of respect for what they've done this year, but they just don't excite me. The LeBron story, that excites me. As a story guy, LeBron going for another title, that excites me. Yeah, it would be cool to see. It'd be cool to see LeBron against the Heat, though, outside the bubble, and Spoelstra trying to get a title again, and Butler trying to get his first. And I don't know. I don't think Mazzulla is a very good head coach. I'm not sold on him. Yeah. Yeah, they're so much more talented than Miami. If they don't win this series, it's going to be a lot of people second guessing the decision to give him a long-term deal. We're going to put the Nyan cat on the screen. Just have that running around behind me. Wednesday/Thursday edition of the show. It's good when you know what day it is. Good to have you with us. It's weird when you miss a show, like we didn't do Monday. We were off Monday. Off every Monday this month. When you don't do a show, it totally screws you up for the rest of the week because you're playing catch up. So on Tuesday, you're talking about the stuff you would have been talking about Monday. So it throws off your mojo, to say the least. Wow. Novak Djokovic, his 18-year streak at the Italian Open comes to an end. Wow. Getting ready for the French Open, and a lot of people are wondering if Rafael Nadal's actually going to play in that event. That should be very, very interesting, to say the least. All right, so Dave in Connecticut and I have a bet. He's got Boston -9. I have the Heat +9 on Game 2 Friday night. $5. That's a Starbucks drink for me while I'm in Connecticut, Dave. Good luck. That's all I'm going to say. Good luck. Because the Heat, they're in it to win it, man. You watch all the teams that have played in this Eastern Conference postseason. And I know this is a hard thing to point to because it's one of those things that doesn't come with a statistic. And if something doesn't have a statistic attached to it these days, people don't really seem to buy into it because we live in this stat-crazy society. We live in this stat-crazy world. But when I see this and watch this Miami Heat team, I just see a team that wants it more than everybody else. And again, you can't put a number on that. But I feel like I've watched almost every single Miami Heat game in this postseason. And the one thing I can say about them that I really can't say about anybody else is every night they've gone after it. Even in games where they lose. Every single night. They're dogs, man. They're just dogs. Going after it every night. See what that equates to. Is that enough to overcome the talent disparity between these two teams? I have no idea. All right, we heard from Eric Spoelstra, or I should say Joe Mazzulla, the head coach of the Celtics. We have heard from Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat. A few thoughts with Bam Adebayo and Kyle Lowry postgame. Lowry had some big minutes off the bench, particularly in the second quarter. This Miami Heat team that beats the Celtics tonight 123-116 here on the Cash In.
The other players, regardless of how great Jimmy and Bam are playing.
Yeah, I think the one thing about our team is, Jimmy and Bam they're going to lead us, and they're going to be the guys who take us there, honestly. And the others, and we just go out there and they give us the confidence to go out there and shoot shots, be aggressive, be assertive, and that's all that matters. These guys give us the confidence. We just step up for them and make sure that we make their jobs a little bit easier.
Bam, similar to the game one against New York, you guys gave up 40 in the paint in the first half, and then you cleaned it up again in the second half. What are you guys adjusting at halftimes of these games to protect the paint better?
We have a great video group, and they put all the stats at half and basically show us where we went wrong and how we can improve in the second half. So after watching it and talking to the coaches, we be honest with one another, look each other in the eye, and say how we feel and what we need to get done.
Kyle, you've obviously known Jimmy a while.
Yes. Good question.
But played with him the last couple of years. What is it like playing with him right now when he's playing at this high of a level consistently?
It's fun. Who's that? Oh, it's fun. Bam said it's amazing. I think it's just great to be a part of this this run he's been on since, I don't know how long it's been now. It's been, but that's what he does. He's one of the best players in the world for a reason. And it's just a joy to watch it. And for a guy, he wants it so bad and he works so hard at his craft. it's important to, enjoy his success. And, he gives us all the confidence to be, successful and be aggressive and assertive. And that's what makes him special. And that he's not all about him. It's about our group and our team and everyone else.
Kyle, for you and for Bam, please, just 3 straight series, 3 straight road wins at the start, 3 straight times of reclaiming home court advantage.
Jesus, bro.
Well, you do have home court advantage, I'm sorry. Just the way your team has come out and made 3 straight opening statements. How about that?
I think we just go out there and we try to win basketball games. At the end of the day, we are the 8th seed, so we're on the road. So we got to go out there and try to win games on the road, and we don't have the advantage of having 4 games at home. So we got to go out there and try to win games on the road.
We find ways to win.
Bam, what's the biggest difference in maybe the way Boston defended you today compared to maybe the first 2 playoff opponents? And is it maybe calling you more to be more of a scorer in this series as opposed to a playmaker because of the way they're defending you?
My teammates want me to be aggressive first. If they start to send a double, I'm a phenomenal passer, so that's when I can make the extra pass or.
That's crazy. God, that's crazy. But I take it. You have 1 assist tonight?
I had more assists than you.
You had the ball more than me, though. Cool.
Anyways.
Phenomenal passer.
Yeah, phenomenal passer.
It's great. It's like the comedy routine with Kyle Lowry and Bam Adebayo. And Lowry's literally sitting there because I could see it. You guys are listening to it, but Kyle Lowry's literally sitting there typing text messages on his phone while Bam's answering questions. And then Kyle will answer a question and Bam's doing something. They're 2 of them together, man. Just a regular Abbott and Costello. And look, it's easy to be in a great mood when you win. I can tell you right now, it's not the same vibe over in that Boston Celtics locker room. Matter of fact, here's Jason Tatum postgame just moments ago.
It's going to go down as one of the strangest.
See what he has to say here to the media assembled. Here's Jason Tatum.
I think in that third quarter we gave up too many points. Sometimes we didn't get back, had some turnovers, spacing, defensive coverages that we kind of, got mixed up on that, we went over today and shoot around. So a lot of things that we can control to be better at.
And he's talked a lot about you guys adjusting on the fly, you guys being open to adjustments, especially against this team that's switching it up so much. How much did you guys out there feel the need to adjust to some of the things they were doing? And do you think you did so effectively?
Yeah, I think, we just gave up 46 points in the third. So, that's defense and transition and offensive rebounds and, not closing out the shooters. So, there's some things that we really got to focus on and go over tomorrow and, at practice.
Jason, you guys have had a kind of history of, Joe talked about letting go of the rope in the third quarter. Why is it that that's something that has continued to happen throughout the course of the season and in the playoffs?
I don't know why, but I just know today, like I said, we gave up some transition baskets. They got in a rhythm. They were comfortable. We didn't close out the shooters. We gave up some offensive rebounds. So in recent games, I'd have to go back and watch them. But tonight, that's kind of what happened.
And this year, even go back to last year, home court advantage hasn't been much of an advantage. You guys have about a 500 record at home in the playoffs. Why is that not helping, having home court advantage?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why. You still got to play the game. You still got to make plays, regardless if, you're at home or on the way. The court is the same. It's 1 ball, 3 reps, 2 baskets. So, I don't have an exact answer why we 500 at home. we just got to be better.
I mean, that's amazing. 500 at home in the postseason. And here they are in the Eastern Conference Finals. And it just goes to show you, what the rest of the conference was that allows them to be in that position despite the fact they're 500 at home during the postseason. Here they are with a shot to still, win 4 more games and wind up in the NBA championship. Wind up playing in the NBA Finals. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004, 888-670-8549 is the text line, 888-670-8549 is the text line. All right, I got a couple things I want to get to here in this final hour of the show. We've gotten enough of the post-game feel from the Heat and the Celtics following Miami's Game 1 victory. There are some interesting questions being asked about one particular NHL team and whether it's going to stay put or whether it's going to be on the move. The fallout from the vote that went horribly wrong in Tempe, Arizona last night for the Arizona Coyotes and what it could mean for their long-term future. We'll get into that coming up in a couple of minutes. And also, why one very prominent female basketball coach continues to turn down the NBA. It's something that is a head-scratcher for me. We'll talk about it as we continue as well. The Cash-In continues on SportsMap Radio. Well, I plan to talk about her, but in the context of she's the one that keeps shying away from the NBA. NBA keeps coming for her, and she's like, nope. Thanks for being with us tonight. NHL postseason review resumes tomorrow night Eastern Conference Finals. Panthers and Hurricanes, game one of that series. But the big question going on around right now in the NHL and sort of the albatross around the league's neck is what is going to happen to the Arizona Coyotes after their, the referendum basically to fund an arena in Tempe, Arizona went south. And now the league is basically saying, all right, well, what are we going to do with this team? As of right now, according to the NHL, the Coyotes plan to play next season at Mullet Arena on the campus of Arizona State University. Coyotes had been hoping to build a new arena in Tempe as part of a $2.1 billion entertainment district. That idea was rejected by voters on Tuesday. And now all sorts of chaos surrounds this team. And the question starting to be asked is, where are they going to move to? Because Arizona State is not a long-term solution. So the cities being thrown around are, wait for it, Houston, Salt Lake City, Kansas City, here we come, or Quebec City. I've said Quebec should get a team again. I mean, the Nordiques. As early as next season. But Coyotes president, guy who's also their CEO, Xavier Gutierrez, confirmed to ESPN on Wednesday the team is going to play next season at Arizona State. Deputy Commissioner Bill Daley agrees. So right now, that's what's going to happen. It's just, they're going to be playing in this tiny little arena again next year on the campus of Arizona State University. Every time I hear about the NHL going into different markets and I don't see Hartford listed, it's just another gut punch for me. Hartford had its team robbed away by Peter Karmanos in Raleigh. You know him as the Carolina Hurricanes. And the NHL has refused to even open the door to the possibility of the NHL returning to Hartford, Connecticut, despite the fact that Connecticut is a hockey hotbed. They have college hockey's national champions. They've got 2 AHL teams. They've got a slew of top-ranked Division I college hockey teams. High school hockey is huge there. And they can't get their NHL team back. Just blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind. We'll follow the story. We'll see where the Coyotes wind up going. Houston is a really interesting choice because Tillman Fertitta obviously has the money. And they had AHL hockey at one time in that market. Was it successful at all, Charles? Yeah, I remember the Arrows. Did they draw fans? I don't know. Were they drawing 7,000, 8,000 fans a game? What was the attendance like? 3? How the hell are you going to give how are you going to give an NHL team to a franchise that didn't even show it could support an AHL franchise? How are you going to do that? They averaged 6,793 fans their last season in the league. 2001 to 2013. Let's see. Their season attendance was anywhere from 5,124 to their last year in the league, they were 6,793. I mean, that's not terrible. As far as the AHL goes, that's not terrible attendance. And I know that because, I lived in an AHL market for much of my life in Hartford and worked in that market and know a lot of people there. And now I'm in another AHL market here in Palm Springs, which brought in an AHL team for the Seattle franchise. So the Seattle Kraken's AHL affiliate is in Palm Springs, California, where it was 104 degrees today, by the way. And because it's their first year in the league, they're basically sold out every night. So there's, 9 to 10,000 people in the arena every night. You'd never think Palm Springs is a hockey hotbed. But there's a simple reason for it. All the Canadians that come and stay here in the winter are the ones going to the games. You know how many people from Seattle spend 3 or 4 months a year in Palm Springs during the winters? They all go to the hockey games. It's kind of funny. Yeah. What do you mean so many? Who's moving to Houston? What? Yeah. I like Houston. I have nothing against it. I shouldn't say I like Houston. I have nothing against Houston. It's just I went there. I did my 3 days there in 2018, and I can't go back. I just can't do it. I'll go to visit. I got peeps there, and I know we're on the air there and stuff. It's just not for me. It's not a city for me. It's too spread out. I don't know. Houston doesn't do it for me. I love Dallas. I'm dying to go visit Austin. Our friends in Austin, I keep telling you guys I'm going to come visit, but Houston, not so much. Not so much. The telephone number, 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. The text line is 888-670-8549, 888-670-8549. In this hour, you will hear from Cam Rogers. He does a great job on all things golf betting in general, but his specialty is actually golf betting. The PGA Championship begins tomorrow. Oak Hill Country Club, Rochester, New York. John Rahm is your favorite right now, along with Scotty Scheffler, to win the PGA Championship. We'll ask Cam Rogers for his thoughts on that. He's the host of the Lock It In podcast. You can also catch him Friday nights over on Stadium TV. So we'll get some thoughts with him. Somebody has to explain to me why Becky Hammon keeps turning down the NBA. I know she's been in the news for different reasons recently, and I've seen the story. I'm well read on it by now that she was accused of bullying one of her players on the Las Vegas Aces. So she got a 2-game suspension from the WNBA without pay. She's still denying that she didn't do what was said in basically the allegations in the report from the league, which says Hammon violated the league and team's respect in the workplace policy in her treatment of a former player on her team, De'Erica Hamby, who was pregnant. But the one thing I still can't get past is, like, the Toronto Raptors have actually come calling for Becky Hammon. She could easily be the first female NBA head coach, and she has no interest in it. She has no interest in it at all. She is very content coaching in the WNBA, and she'd probably make a lot more money in the NBA. She would be a history-making hire. Look, some people don't want that heat. Some people don't want the headache that comes with being the first of something. And Becky Hammon is, there are a lot of people that think she's capable of coaching an NBA team. Boy, you just think about all the things. If it's not the right team, how wildly wrong a situation with a female head coach can go. If you've got the wrong group of guys, I'm going to put it this way. Imagine if Becky Hammon was the head coach. You ready for this one, Charles? I want to get your actual reaction to this. So I'm going to say this in real time. Imagine if Becky Hammon had been coaching the Memphis Grizzlies this year. I mean, that's what I'm saying. No, but I mean, think about it. Think about it. Dylan Brooks, some of the acerbic personalities on that team. And Becky Hammon's the one leading them in the huddle. I'm not saying she can't or that she's not capable. Oh, hell no. I think it would have. I think God, no. I'm saying, could you imagine if she had to manage the Ja Morant situation, Dylan Brooks acting the fool, and how are those guys on that team going to react to a female head coach? Now, if you told me she was coaching, a young up-and-coming team in the league, that might be different, but it's going to have to be the right fit for a female to coach in this league. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing. We're coming back. Oh, it would have been a train wreck if she was coaching Memphis. Those guys would have, oh my God. Yeah, I want to see her go and tell Ja Morant, you need to grow up a little bit. Yeah, how's he going to take that? Going to call his mommy. I thought she would have been good in San Antonio if Pop had decided to hand over the reins. I thought that was the spot for her. I always thought that was the spot for her. Well, look, it's like you never want to be the person that takes over after a legend leaves. But if there was any situation where it would have worked with them finally sucking, if he had decided to step down, that would have been the spot for her because she would have gotten a young team. If they sucked, nobody would have cared. Like she would have had a couple of years grace period. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. Well, no, but I mean that. Like I said, that's it. She was an assistant coach for the Spurs. That's why I'm saying. Yeah, she coached their summer league team. She won a championship with them. Welcome back to the show. Always happy to talk some golf. The PGA Championship gets started. Oak Hill Country Club, Rochester, New York on Thursday. And a lot of storylines, as there always is, going into a major. We talk about it now with our good friend Cam Rogers. Does a great job over on Stadium. You can catch. Welcome back to the show. Always happy to talk some golf. The PGA Championship gets started. Oak Hill Country Club, Rochester, New York on Thursday. And a lot of storylines, as there always is, going into a major. We talk about it now with our good friend Cam Rogers. Does a great job over on Stadium. You can catch his show there Friday nights throughout the weekend as well. You could also catch him on his own podcast. It's called the Lock It In Podcast. So he's everywhere. He's blowing up. So I'm glad I can get him while he's still gettable. All right, Cam. At BetMGM, John Rahm to win seems like from what I've read, is the bet getting the most play. I won't bury the lead here. Usually I ask for a winner at the end. Is he your pick to win this week?
John Rahm is not my pick to win, and he is firmly, Jason, in the unbettable category of outrights in golf. I can't go there at plus 750. I just can't. Not in a field of hundreds.
Well, give me.
I looked at this, but it's so little that it was unsatisfying.
Oh, it's so good. I got a replay interview here. Yeah, YouTube TV is trending for the wrong reasons. Welcome back to the show. Always happy to talk some golf. The PGA Championship gets started. Oak Hill Country Club, Rochester, New York on Thursday. And a lot of storylines, as there always is, going into a major. We talk about it now with our good friend Cam Rogers. Does a great job over on Stadium. You can catch his show there Friday nights throughout the weekend as well. You could also catch him on his own podcast. It's called the Lock It In Podcast. So he's everywhere. He's blowing up. So I'm glad I can get him while he's still gettable. All right, Cam. At BetMGM, John Rahm to win seems like from what I've read, is the bet getting the most play. I won't bury the lead here. Usually I ask for a winner at the end. Is he your pick to win this week?
John Rahm is not my pick to win, and he is firmly, Jason, in the unbettable category of outrights in golf. I can't go there at plus 750. I just can't. Not in a field of hundreds.
You want to give me that money? You want to give me that money instead?
I mean, sure. Why not? Because, he's not going to win this week. Couple of things. Number one, he's dealing with the media attention, the pomp and circumstance of being the Masters champion. Right now, he has proven since the Masters victory in between the PGA and the Masters that he can contend, he can play well, but he's playing in another major. And I used this logic with Scotty Scheffler at the Masters, being the defending champion and what have you. I didn't think he was going to win. He didn't win. I think there are so many players right now playing so well that Rahm is going to have to deal with the likes of a Tony Finau, Patrick Cantlay, even Ricky Fowler is playing really good golf right now. So there's a lot stacked up against him. And at that price, I just can't do it. So no John Rahm for me this week.
Well, it's easy to pick the guys that won't win. I mean, that's a long list. Give me a winner then. Tell me, who do you like?
Xander Schauffele is going to win the PGA Championship this week, and here is why. 10th at the Masters, top 5 at the RBC Heritage, top 10 at the Wells Fargo, 4th tee to green over the last 50 rounds, 5th in par 4 efficiency. This is a par 70, meaning a lot more par 4s than what you'll see at a 71 or 72, of course. Overall, elite major championship resume, right? 5th in strokes gained total in the majors over the last 50 rounds. Donald Ross designed golf course this week. Xander won the 2017 Tour Championship at Eastlake. Donald Ross designed golf course. It's his time. The PGA Championship seemingly is a platform for guys to break through in the major championship capacity. I think Xander gets it done this week. 16-1. It's a little bit shorter than earlier this week, maybe because people are listening to me. I don't know, Jason, but I think he gets it done this week.
He's on FanDuel, he's 17-1, and Rahm is 8.5-1 right now. Looking at the most recent odds. So what does that say for Scotty Scheffler then? Because I haven't heard you talking about him.
He's number 2 in terms of my power rankings here this week. I mean, he's on a ridiculous run, has finished 12th or better in each of his last 13 events, has finished 21st or better in 10 of his last 11 majors. So if you want to lock, top 20, Scotty Scheffler, lay the juice, leads the field off the tee, 6th in approach, really just good overall game. What is there to say? I just can't go there with the price, plus 750. Again, just one of those situations where I can't justify putting money down at that number when you have a field of 156 players. So, Scotty Scheffler will be a part of the conversation this weekend, no doubt about it, especially because of his driving game.
We're talking with our friend Cam Rogers joining the show today, talking a little about the Oak Hill Country Club edition of this PGA Championship going on this week. What's going on with Rory McIlroy? I'm surprised to see him at 13-1, given his struggles. I know, he's all right, to talk with Tiger or whatever. Everybody talks to Tiger. Nobody plays with Tiger anymore, but everybody talks to Tiger. Are you surprised McIlroy's odds are this good?
I actually am, and I wonder if there's a lot of public money going into Rory right now. I haven't looked at the bet slips, if you will, but here's the situation with Rory. All of the data, all of the trends, everything was pointing to him to win the Masters, and I was singing it from the rooftops. What does he do? Miss the cut. And then he has to show up at the RBC Heritage, an elevated event, the next week. What does he do? He skips it and then gets fined $3 million. Okay. He shows up to the Wells Fargo, T47. That was an elevated event. So to your point, the play has been awful. And for a guy that short who hasn't won a major since 2014, Can't go there at that number. The trends are bad for him right now. He does not fit the things that I want here this week at the PGA Championship. And then you throw in the fact that, he's not answering the questions anymore about LIV. He's shrugging it off. And that tells me, Jason, people on his inside are saying, hey, stop answering these questions. I think they're affecting your game. So it's probably the right thing to do to not entertain these LIV questions anymore. But the proof is still not in the pudding as far as good play is concerned. So I can't go there with Rory this week.
Talking with Cam Rogers, giving us some time on the show, talking a little bit about this. My dog is literally barking in the middle of the interview in his sleep. This is hilarious. You cannot make this stuff up. My dog is literally
organic background.
He is sleep barking. Listen to him. You could actually hear him sleep barking. The dog is barking in his sleep. It's great.
Animal Planet right here.
Can't live radio. You can't make this stuff up. Stop barking. Wake up. Stop. You're freaking me out. Go back to the Rory thing for a second with him not talking about LIV anymore. It's kind of hard to believe because it felt like he was in control of everything, his emotions. He was sort of the ambassador for the PGA Tour in this LIV PGA battle. And then it just feels like whatever happened at the Masters, and nobody's even really gotten a clear indication. He's talking about, mental health or, anxiety or whatever. He was going through something. He talked about it with, the PGA Tour. Obviously, they didn't buy into the whole thing. Where is he right now? Does anybody have any sense as to mentally where Rory McIlroy is right now?
Yeah, it's always difficult because PGA Tour golfers typically are very private figures and not all of them speak to the media and what have you. Rory typically does. And to your point, he has been the torch holder outside of Tiger for PGA Tour loyalty and leadership and all of this stuff. And for him to not want to expand more so on this LIV PGA divide is very telling to me. And I think he's trying to change his mentality, his process going into a major championship, because what did he do before the Masters? He talked about LIV a lot and he missed the cut. So there's definitely something going on in between the ears with McIlroy. Maybe it's too much pressure on himself for not performing in the majors of late. I don't know necessarily, but we know this, Jason. As somebody who recently played golf in a very difficult golf course, golf is very mental. And if your mind isn't right, your scores are going to be very high.
Yeah, it's very true. Cam, interesting bet I noticed, at least on FanDuel, and I'm sure other sites have it as well. I just use them for the sake of using one site here on the show. Tournament winning score, 8 under or worse, is minus 150. 9 under or better is plus 122. That tells me they think this thing is going to play like a beast for 4 days. Where do you lie with that kind of a number?
Yeah, I would lay the juice with 8 under or worse. And here's why. This golf course is going to be a massive test, a fair test. So I don't think the players are going to complain, which is something you'll see at a U.S. Open sometimes, but probably not this week. It's a par 70, 7,400 yards. The revamp back in 2019 by Andrew Green really lengthened this golf course. So whatever you saw in 2013, and oh, by the way, it played tough then, it's going to be even tougher here in this edition of the PGA Championship. And I think maybe Vegas is factoring in the weather too, Jason. We're talking about Rochester, New York in May. Can be volatile. It's going to be 77, sunny on Friday. Saturday, 61 for a high, rainy, damp, difficult conditions. I think this is going to be a grinded out affair. The rough seems very penal as well. So, I think the winning score is probably going to be something along the lines of what Sean McKeel did back in 2003, winning out of nowhere at 5 under par. So I do like that number there, minus 150.
I thought I had some Sam Champion on the show or something. I was getting the weather report and everything. You're like full service. Hey, do you have a prop bet that you like? Is there any one particular prop bet that you like for this week?
My lock of the week is Ricky Fowler for a top 20. I do think a major championship breakthrough is coming, maybe in 2024, but he's having a great year so far. 6 top 20s in his past 8 starts, 7th on tour with his irons. That's a complete 180 from what we saw last year. His game was in ruins last year, Jason, and yet he finished T23 at the PGA Championship. So you're telling me he's playing better now and you're getting plus money for Ricky inside the top 20? I'll take that all day.
That's Cam Rogers. Cam Rogers. He's the host of the Lock It In podcast. I can't talk today. Catch him over on Stadium as well. What's the name of that show on Stadium again?
Believe me, Friday nights, 9:00 Eastern time.
Great stuff. Cam, always appreciate it, my friend. Be well.
Thank you, Jason.
So there you go. Cam Rogers, some thoughts with him prior to the PGA Championship. Apologies, there were a couple of technical issues on that. They were not on Charles' end back in Houston. They were on my end here in Palm Springs. See? I will take the bullet. When I screw it up, I will take the bullet. All right, I've got a funny story to finish with. Professional athletes can sometimes get hurt in the weirdest ways. If you haven't heard about Dustin Johnson's injury and how he sustained it, you're going to hear about it next. It's on the Cash In. It's SportsMap Radio. It's my fault. I usually don't walk away from the computer during the interviews exactly for that reason. Or if I do walk away, I make sure I close the browser so that if there's like a website open and a random audio decides to start playing, that was my fault. Well, we played that interview in the first hour, so you should be able to use the one from the first hour for the podcast. Are you putting the whole 3 hours up? No, I never want the whole 3 hours up. No, I only want select segments of the show up because think about it. To somebody listening, like the post game stuff and the stuff happening in real time, it makes no sense. So I only I thought you knew that. Maybe I didn't tell you, or maybe nobody maybe nobody else told you. From this show, we only cut up certain segments from the show and put it into the podcast. Yeah. So I want I want an interview. I want my stuff on John Morant. There's no need to put all 3 hours of this show up. It just makes no sense. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll tell you, I'll always tell you because at the end of the day, I only want the podcast to this show to be like 45 minutes. Yes. Yes. Don't worry about it tonight. Obviously, don't put that last segment in because the audio got screwed up. Just do what you normally do tonight. But going forward, the only audio I want is what we talk about during the show, like what I actually tell you, it's usually not going to be more than 45 minutes. We literally just take the best of the show and stuff that doesn't go stale by the morning. And that's the stuff we put in for the podcast. All right. No, it's okay. If you didn't know, you couldn't know. I mean, every other show just throws the whole show up. I don't believe in doing that. Yeah. Because nobody's listening to a 3-hour podcast. Nobody. If people are listening to podcasts, they don't want anything more than 45 minutes. And yeah. Especially when the show is every day.
What'd you do to your back? What is
I just pulled a muscle, lower back.
Swinging a club or lifting up a kid?
Yeah, lifting up a kid.
Thank you for being with us. Let's save the best for last tonight, shall we? Dustin Johnson has had some interesting injuries in his career, and he's getting ready for the PGA Championship this week. And a lot of people know, those injuries. When you're a prominent professional athlete, you hear a lot. You hear a lot of stories and different ways guys get hurt. I remember, I can't remember who it was on the Yankees. I don't think it was Jesse Barfield. Maybe it was Danny Tartabull back in like the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. Somebody from the Yankees hurt themselves on a fall in a hot tub. And we're out for a really long time. I mean, there's been some strange injuries in the history of sports. Dustin Johnson suffered a lot of different back injuries in his career in a lot of strange ways. I think it was like a jet skiing accident or something like that sometime. On Wednesday at the PGA Championship, Dustin Johnson was asked for an explanation of his back injury earlier this year. Listen closely to what he says.
What'd you do to your back? What is
I just pulled a muscle, lower back.
Swinging a club or lifting up a kid?
Yeah, lifting up a kid, just a bigger kid.
For those who didn't hear what he said, yeah, lifting up a bigger kid. It happened in the bedroom. Yeah. It happened in the bedroom. And you could kind of figure out what he's talking about when he says lifting up a bigger kid. Now, you know who his wife is, right? You know who his wife is, right, Charles? His wife is Paulina Gretzky. If the name sounds familiar, it's the daughter of the great one. Yeah. I'm sure Wayne loved hearing that. By the way, she's a fantastic golfer in her own right. But it's kind of embarrassing to have to get up there and admit you basically got hurt having sex. Doing the hanky-panky. Now, it just makes you wonder. If you get hurt during sex, does it mean you're doing it right or does it mean you're doing it wrong? Because I think it could go either way. Right? I think it's a very fair question. Here we go. Text the show in the final few minutes. 888-670-8549. 888-670-8549. A lot of people might think we're definitely in safe harbor this time of night. A lot of people might think, well, you're not doing it right if you're getting hurt during sex. I would tend to say, no, you might be doing something very right. Yeah, it means you're working. It means you're giving it an effort. No, see, I think you are worrying about it. I think it's the exact opposite. If you got hurt, it means you're putting in the effort. If you didn't get hurt, it means you're dead fish. Charles is like, I am not touching this. No, but I mean, seriously, we're not saying anything graphic. Sex is sex, whatever. If your little kid is listening to the show at this time of night, you got bigger problems, my friend. Okay? If he's listening to Jason Page on SportsMap Radio or watching me on some, social media platform at this time of night, your kid's got much bigger issues. I just think it's hilarious that, the writer was like, how'd you get hurt? I wonder if the writer knew. I wonder if that journalist knew something. Because to kind of dig a little deeper and say, well, how'd you hurt it? Like, listen to the start of the question again.
What is
I just pulled a muscle, lower back.
Swinging a club or lifting up a kid?
Yeah, lifting up a kid. Just a bigger kid.
Swinging a club or picking up a kid? I think that reporter had some inside info. And I mean, that's some real inside info. Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah. Yep. Very, 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 very interesting. Ooh. Phone, my iPad decided to start throwing sounds at me too. It's got just noise coming from everywhere tonight here on the show. By the way, funny note, somebody pointed this story out to me and I did not know about it. He's one of the worst umpires in all of Major League Baseball. Do you know who I'm going to say before I even say it? If I say one of the worst umpires in Major League Baseball, you say, you let me down. Angel Hernandez. When I say bad umpire, you say Angel Hernandez. Okay, here we go. Ready? Bad umpire. There you go. We're simpatico. There's something very interesting going on though. Angel Hernandez has not umpired a Major League Baseball game since April 3rd. Has not worked a game since April 3rd. His only game this season, he was stationed at first base for the Giants game against the White Sox. And now people are starting to wonder why. And, I mean, he's one of the worst umpires in baseball. Major League Baseball Umpires Association has not commented about any sort of leave, suspension, retirement. He worked the World Baseball Classic. And despite filing a lawsuit against MLB for racial discrimination in 2017, he's continued to regularly work up until this last April. MLB blames his lack of World Series assignments and crew promotions on his poor performance as an umpire. I wonder if he kind of just got the boot and nobody ever said it. Now, some are suggesting Director of Major League Umpires Randy Marsh told USA Today he believed Hernandez's absence was due to a medical matter. If it is a medical matter, obviously we wish the best for the guy. But there's a lot of people looking around going, like, Angel Hernandez just disappeared. Did one game and then he was gone. And he is one of the most heavily scrutinized. If you go on social media, there is no umpire that gets raked over the coals more than him. Angel Hernandez just gets crushed in umpire rankings virtually every night. By the way, last thought tonight before I go. We mentioned at the start of the show that YouTube TV went sort of haywire tonight. You basically couldn't, if you had YouTube TV tonight, you did not get to watch the Celtics and the Heat. I didn't get to watch the game. I got to watch bits and pieces of the first half. It was very choppy. And then basically the entire second half, there was no Heat Celtics. And a lot of people took to social media tonight to point out this is the same company that's trying to convince you to spend $300 for NFL Sunday Ticket this year and to buy YouTube TV, because you can't really, I mean, you could get it with YouTube TV. You could also get it without YouTube TV. It's a lot more. But this was not a good night for YouTube TV, a company that is basically begging people to come and get Sunday Ticket, because remember, they spent a buttload of money to get that deal from the NFL. So they need people to sign up. And on a night like tonight, where you've got no NBA playoff game that you're able to watch, and it's been choppy all night, the video, it's been a disastrous night for YouTube TV. At a time where they're trying to convince people, oh yeah, don't worry about it. Streaming, cable channels, yeah, it'll be fine. I'm not going to lie. We were, in my household, we were questioning whether or not before tonight to leave YouTube TV. And the only reason I was planning to keep it was NFL Sunday Ticket, Red Zone channel. You watch a night like tonight, though, and you really do have some pause about whether this company is capable of handling what it's going to need to do to air all these games every week on a Sunday around the NFL. Kind of rough. All right, that's going to wrap it up for tonight's show. We got one more show tomorrow. Back with you at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific here on SportsMap Radio and the SportsMap Radio app. We will have full coverage of Nuggets-Lakers. Game 2 of that series in Denver. Start of the NHL postseason's conference finals, Carolina and Florida. PGA Championship Round 1 recap. What else? Baseball? It's always baseball to talk about. Nice job, Charles Carter. I'll see you next week. I'm Jason Page. I'll catch you all back here tomorrow night for the cash-in on SportsMap Radio. Bye! Oh, you are tomorrow? Oh, I didn't know that. Cool. Oh, that makes it even better. Well, I'll talk to you next week anyway. Yeah, and so like I said, for tomorrow's podcast, we'll do. I'll explain as we go through the show, just the segments we want and that sort of stuff. Just yeah, I mean, definitely not the segment that got where the interview got screwed up. That I thought that final segment was actually kind of funny with the Paulina Gretzky stuff. We could definitely include that. Like post-game audio, none of that stuff matters by tomorrow. So yeah, just the Paulina Gretzky stuff. That last segment is fine. Yeah. Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye-bye. All right. That does it for us on the video side as well. Thanks for checking out the show. I'll catch you all back here tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. SportsMap Radio, the SportsMap Radio app. Have yourselves a great night wherever you're watching. Bye.